All right, after a long break, I'm back. I did go through much of the CRUD program. I still couldn't get the update to work. I tried umpteen different things and I didn't get it to work, but I am going to come through here and I'm going to create two folders quickly. They're going to be called database first demo, and the other one is going to be called code first demo. Okay, so I've got these are the two, and the first one worked pretty well before, but I'm redoing it anyway. And I've got my notes, and I'm going to make sure that my notes, I literally copy them. So there's the database first, so that'll be copied here. And there's the code first, so that'll be copied there as well. And if I find any mistakes along the way, I'll try to remember to correct them right away. So let's come through here and let's just start following the steps that are shown in here. So this was gleaned or taken from, adapted from, I guess you could say, a YouTube video that's called Entity Framework 6 Tutorial Learn Entity Framework 6 from Scratch by Mosh Hamandani. All right, so I'm just going to follow the steps here. So I'm going to create a database first database using SQL Server Object Explorer. So let's come in here and let's just start up a new project. And again, this project will be a console app. It'll be database first, and it'll be put into the folder database first demo. Okay, so there's that and create. Now with this up and running, I'm going to come back over into here and I'm going to remove my code first and my database first folders. So my code first, and it's now gone. Here is my database first, and it is now gone. All right, again, I'm just following the steps that I'm laying out for you here. So create a database first database. All right, I played with the names and made it so I think it's a little easier to understand. So add new database, database first, and there it is, just added right there. Okay. Open this via, open the server. Yep. Right mouse click. Yep, I did all that. Okay, so I verified also that it worked. You could see it was there. Now, I'm going to create the table and let's create it the kind of bump and grind way. So I'm going to keep this here, but I'm going to create this kind of using the other way of doing it. So let me come in here. Where am I? So let me come into this and this. Let me move this way the hay down. And let me come in here and do this. So I'm database first. I am going to, under my tables, I'm going to add a new table. All right. That new table's name will be employee. All right. And taking this from the top, this will be employee ID. None of these are going to allow nulls. And it's also going to be my primary key, so you can see that. All right. And then just grabbing the stuff. So again, I'm grabbing the stuff from right here. All right. So there's the employee ID. I'll set the identity up in a minute. I'll have first name, last name, address, city. So first name, which will be a varchar of 50 without allowing nulls. The last name, again, a varchar of 50. Again, we won't allow that. An address in a city. All right, state, which, let's see. So I've come in here and I put in all of these. So now I need a state code, then a zip, then so state code, zip, phone, department code, and salary. So state code, and it will be a char, size 2. All right, so I'm just about there. Zip, phone, department code, salary. Zip. Let's make it 20. I mean, we could make it 50 if we wanted to. Let's make it 20 for both of these. So 20 for the zip code. And after the zip code, we have phone, department code, and salary. So phone, again, we'll make that an nvarchar 20. Not allowing nulls. Our department code, this will be an int. And again, we're not allowing nulls. And finally, our salary, which will be a decimal 11.2. Same exact thing I did before. So before I just basically copied all of this in, and that'll work just fine. But to show you the other way, it created this for me, which is basically the same thing. All right. Now what's left? Well, what's left in here, what I did not do, in here was set up the identity. Okay, so I'm going to click on the employee ID. I'm going to come over to here. I'm going to find identity, which is down near the bottom. It's set to false. So I'm going to double click on it to make it true. And that brings in the identity here. So you can see now that it's an identity. And I want start with 1. And I want the seed to be 1. And I think it does those by default. That's why it's not adding them here. All right. I don't think it would hurt if we were to add those. So if we went int identity 1, I don't think that would hurt anything. In other words, I don't think we'd get an error here like that. Okay, I think because it's doing the same thing, telling it to start at 1 and increment by 1. All right, now I've changed that name to employee. Let's update. And it says it's going to create employee table, and I'm going to tell it to update the database. Now we can tell whether or not this worked by coming back to here, refreshing, checking, and there's dbo.employee. And again, we can look at it. So I can bring up the columns. So you can see all of them. They're here. Keys. And you can see we've got the primary key. All right. Constraints. There are none. Triggers, index, that stuff, there are none. Okay, so everything's cool so far. So I've already got the table. So if it asks me to save, I can say no. And it didn't ask me. Okay. So right now, so far, I have come in and I have created the database and I have created a table under the database. So following my steps here, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, this, and this. And I did this, but I did it from the system itself, as opposed to just copying in that script. Okay. All right. So now I have already opened Visual Studio. I already have a console product named Database First Demo. So it's time to bring in my package manager here. All right. So Tools, NuGet Package Manager, manage NuGet packages for a solution. So Tools, NuGet Package Manager, manage package for solution. You'll notice I have nothing installed, so I'm going to go back to Browse, and I'm going to put into here Entity Framework, like that. There it is. I'm going to click right here. I am going to tell it here, and I'm going to tell it to install. Accept. All right, if I go to install now, it should be there. There it is. I still like to close it anyway, reopen it, and look at installed. There it is. So everything's cool as far as I can tell. All right, so all that stuff is done. And I know I'm doing this faster because I already did it this morning. So I did all this. All right. Again, the above can also be done doing it with a package manager console. We'll do that later. Okay. So in Visual Studio, right mouse click on the project, choose add new item in ADO.NET entity data model. So right mouse click on the project, add new item, ADO.NET entity data model. I think we said here, what did we call it? I didn't give it a name. Right now, it's just called Model 1. Let's change that to employee model. So I'll say here, call it employee model. Call it, oh, there it is, rename it employee model. Okay, forget that. And then click add. All right, same thing we did before. Now it's asking again on here, which one do we want to use? We want the EF designer from database. Since it's chosen, I can just click next. Now we have to establish a new connection. So we're going to click on here. All right, leave it as it is. Name will be the same thing I've been showing you, which is our local DB, etc. Now, as soon as I put that in, watch how this changes. That period that's right now is not being shown. Now you notice that it is. And it's got my databases in here, including database first, which we just created. Now I can test the connection. It says it succeeded. I can click OK. Now I've got my connection with database first. This is my connection string. See how ugly it is. And this is called database first entities. Let's change the name just on this one to employee entities and click next. Now in here, we don't have any views. We don't have any stored procedures. So we do have in here our table. So I'm going to click right there and click finish. All right. If I get this security warning, I can click OK. I might even get it again. I think I got it twice earlier. You can suppress it. There was a thing on there to suppress it as well, whatever you know you're comfortable with. And there again, this is our file. Okay, so this right here, this is our entity data model. You can see the name of the associated table that we've got and the fields that are in there. Now, right now, there's nothing under navigation properties, but if we had other tables in here, all right, if we had other tables in there, we could put those in as well. Now, I was going to bring in those other two tables. I'm just not going to do it because I want this to work. All right, we'll look at that at a later time, hopefully. All right, or maybe not. So we've got all that. So we've done all this. We made our connection. We did everything here. On, click the net. We did all this. Finish, brings this up. Again, this employee model.edmx entity database model, and I don't know what the X is. Again, it might be XML. As it says, it represents the conceptual model that displays the mapping between the database tables themselves and these classes that are going to be created in a minute. In the Solution Explorer, open this up. So what's in here, again, this is all designer related code. All right. And if we look under the TT that's here, I don't remember if this is the right file or not, but again, we'll see in a minute. So this employee model.control.cs, if we look at the bottom, this is basically what we need. And we're going to actually manually put that in when we do the other one. All right. But the thing to realize, let me close this, is we now have in the other TT employee.cs. So if you look in there, it has for us, it has created this particular, it has created the database for us. Now looking at it, notice it's kind of interesting. They've got byte in here. I don't know why, for the last name, the address, and the city. Let's go back and look at what we put in here. Boy, oh boy. So what did we put in here? We put varchars. I don't know why. Go in here and manually ourselves change this, and so it wasn't a byte array. I don't know why it is. It's very interesting. But I'm going to make these all strings. All right. Now, to be sure, I'm going to jump back into our database first, and I'm going to look at our table, and I want to look at the designer. Oh, it's because I chose var binary there. So those should all be varchar. So varchar 50. I'm sorry, the eyes are getting old. This should have been a varchar of 50. And this should have been a varchar of 50. All right, that would have fixed all of those. Okay. So I'm going to come back here and try to tell it to update the database. Hopefully I didn't screw anything up. We'll find out in just a moment. All right, so I manually changed these. Otherwise, I think they would have been changed for me, to be honest with you. All right. So we've done all this. Again, we're up to here. In our program CS file, we want to enter the following. All right. So again, I want to change all of these right now. So we've got employee 1. I'll make it a capital E. Now all of our stuff is capitalized, including employee. And then I'm going to just add these once. So there's the employee 2. Okay. And finally, we'll put in employee 3. When we're done with all of those, then we will do this and we will add all 3 employees. So we will add employee 1. We will add employee 2. And we will add employee 3 like that, then save the changes. So I'm going to add all of this stuff right here under main. I'm going to put this in. So let me do a file save all. Saved in a while. And I'm going to close this. I don't know why I keep getting those security warnings. I should just suppress it. If it comes up again, I will. All right, I can close this. And underneath here, we're going to add those. Now it looks like it's giving me some errors. That's okay. We're going to fix them right now. So let's see. Yeah, it's show potential fixes. Okay, it's because of what I showed you before. So let's see. All right, this is what we're going to do. Boy, I wish I hadn't done that. I'm going to go back to my model and I'm going to delete it. Okay, it's gone. I'm going to go back and go back to my table here. And I'm going to delete that as well. Don't worry about any errors I get here. That's fine. I'm going to quickly recreate the table. So again, rather than doing it this way, I'm going to bring it up in my query window. So let me close this. We right mouse click on the database and choose new query. Well, now you get to see it both ways, I guess. So varchar, these are all correct. All right. So save all. It's giving me an error. Let's see what the problem is. Oh, that's my run, so don't worry about that. Okay, commands completed successfully. There's my table. Okay. All right, so let me close the. All right, let's jump back into here and see if there's anything. Okay, I'm going to go back again and again do my NuGet. And bring in the entity framework. I don't know if I need to bring it in again or if it's in there. Tools. See if it's in there. There it is under install. So that's already in there. And I don't need to uninstall it. Everything's cool as far as I can tell. All right. So I could have done it that way as well. Yeah. Now let's see if we can create our model again and do it correctly this time. I'm going to do this fairly quickly because I've done it. This is the third time now. I got to manually add it, I guess. Yeah, that should bring up, hopefully soon, my entity data model. We don't really have to go over that again because we already have. All right. And again, hopefully it created underneath here. There. And notice they're all strings now. That's what I wanted. All right. Now all of my errors are gone, except for these, and this should be a capital E. That should be a capital E, and that should be a capital E. Semicolon, which I forgot. Semicolon, semicolon, whoops. Semicolon, semicolon. We go. All right, that should be everything. Well, let's run it, see if it works, if it adds my 3 records or not. So file, save all here. and run. Since it's a console and there's nothing in it, there's nothing to show here. All right, but now if I go back to my DB employee and I view my data, there are my 3 records. So everything is copacetic. It all seemed to have worked. All right, now I want to make a couple changes. Again, in here, and those are, I want to, that's got to be a capital E, semicolon, capital E, semicolon, capital E, semicolon. Everything else, as far as I know, worked. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to close that. That is the database first one. We're going to do the code first in just a minute, but this was the database first. That's the one I've been changing. So I'm going to copy that here. It'll say it's already there. I'm going to tell it to replace it. I'm going to double check and make sure when I double check this and I open it that it's the right one. Yep, looks like. All right, so now let's do this. The name of this was Database First Demo. All right, so let's quickly go into GitHub. And we're going to make a new repo. It should be okay to use that name, Database First Demo. Yep, it's available. Create the repo. All right, let's set our remote. So let's come into Database First here. And I'm going to, I don't know what's in that shortcut. I have no idea what's in there. Probably don't need it. Probably be sorry that I removed it, but I'm trying not to be confusing. So in here, I am going to do my git add dot, which should add the GitHub folder. Get init, sorry. No, there's my GitHub folder. Git add dot, git commit -m, database first demo, created Monday, 8/7/23. See if it saved that. There's my git remote, git push -u origin master. Hopefully that's going to sit and think about it, spin, put all that stuff in there. Hopefully I don't get any errors. Clear. Let's go and go back to GitHub. Refresh. Well, that isn't good. Didn't like it. There, database first. And there's the steps as well. So you now have all that. So the name of that repo, save that for when I send you out in a little bit. When I send you out the email for today, that'll be that one. And in just a minute, I'm going to create code first demo. All right. So let's fix that. All right. Again, I'm just going to follow the same steps. Let me exit here. All right. So I now have the database one that's right here, and that appears to work just fine. So I'm going to try to do the code one. I had problems with this before. Let's hope we don't now. So let's go back into here. And again, I'm going to start up Visual Studio and I'm going to follow my steps, which again, I will provide for you. So this will be create a new project. It will be a console app. This will be code first demo. And I'm going to put it into a folder called Code First. I guess it's called Code First Demo. That's fine. There, that is. Create. Now I'm going to come back and I'm just going to be following the steps that I've got in this file. Not that file, in this file. All right, again, it was gleaned from the same YouTube presentation as before. So I created I now want to come in and create a Code First database with nothing in it. So from here, let me open this up. Right mouse click, choose create new or add new database, and it's going to be Code First. Is it Code First database? No, I don't remember. The other one was database first, so this one will be Code First. And there it is. There's nothing in it right now, and that's good. It's exactly what I want here. All right. So create Code First, yeah. Open Visual Studio, make the new thing. Yep, that's what I did. We again must install the entity framework, but this time let's install it from the Package Manager console. Here's the steps, but I'm just going to go through them with you, and they are as follows. All right. Tools, NuGet Package Manager, Package Manager console. That brings it up down here. And down here, I'm just going to type in install entity framework. Don't think I need a hyphen there. Let's see. I do. Install hyphen entity framework. Still doesn't like it. All right, we'll fix it. It's not recognized. Okie dokie. Install package entity framework. So let's try to bring it in from here. Right from the notes. Install package entity framework. Here it comes. There it goes. And it says we're using the latest and greatest, which is 6.4.4. Good deal. All right, all that is done. So in Visual Studio, create a new employee class with the following in it. So let me just grab all this. So remember, this is Code First. So we're coming in here, we're right mouse clicking, add class. It's going to be called employee.cs. There it is. I'm going to make it public. All right. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to paste that in. Same exact stuff that we had in the last program we just did. All right. So file, save all. And I think at least for now, we can close this. All right. I did save it. In the program.cs file above main, add this. So let's go back to our program.cs file, which is right here. So above main, underneath where it says internal class program, we're adding this. And that is saying that we're using that DB context. Okay. And again, let me do a file save all. All right, next we must specify the associated connection string. That's it right here. Employee DB context should be the same name we just put in right here. So we're going to go into our app.config file and right down near the very bottom of it, right here, we're going to add in this connection string that's right here. There that is. All right. So that again has in there the name, employee DB context, connection string. There's our data source, our local machine, our database, which is code first, which we just made. Our integrated security, meaning we are going to use Windows security. I don't know why that's in there, but it is. Okay, so let me fix that up. So file save all. And let me clean it up in here. So employee context, catalog equals this. This should not be here. That should not be here. Okay, that should be correct now. Just to be sure, I'm going to grab it, copy it to the clipboard. I'm going to come back into here, remove what I have and re-add it. I want to make sure you're getting the right stuff. All right, not showing me any errors that I can see. Looks good. All right, so file, save all. I can close my app.config file. All right. All right, so coming back into here, we want to enable migrations. When we type that in, what you're going to see in just a second, I'm going to do it from the package manager console. In fact, I must. What you're going to see in here is going to be a new folder, and that new folder is going to be called migrations. So let's come back into our package manager, which I believe is still up and running right here. And we're going to say enable migration. So watch over here if you would, and let's see if that comes in. All right, there's our new migrations folder. Okay, so that appears to have worked. Let's keep going here. Again, you must do this only one time per project. Now, every time you make a change to the code, you must create a migration. So we're going to create this one right now, but not the name you should put in there is name showing change made. I'm going to call mine initial setup as I did before. So I'm going to bring that in, but I'm going to change that to initial setup. Technically, you don't even need, if you run the words together like this, you don't even need a blank to put it in double quotes. So add migration, initial setup. You'll notice that right now in migrations, all that's in there is configuration.cs. I'm hitting enter. And it says the designer code for this migration file includes a snapshot of your current code first model. This snapshot is used to calculate the changes to your model, all right, etc. So it's going to show what's changed. Now, hey, it worked. This is what I didn't get last time. All right. So we get an up method and a down method. The up method is used to basically create the database. So notice create table. This is C#. This is actual C# code. Create table employees. Notice there's the fields. All right. It says there's a primary key. And with a down, we just drop it. Okay. That is fan-frigging-tastic. All right. That all of that worked. All right. So that's what was in there. I just showed you all that. So again, every time you make a change, you've got to do an add migration to it. Now, to run this migration, we've got to type in one more command, and that is update database. So coming back here and going back to my package manager, update database, hit enter. That's running that up method that we just looked at. saying it's applied that migration. All right, it's running the seed method. We don't have any seed data in there. We're going to add our own momentarily. All right. So now, hopefully, in our code first database, we see an employee table. And in that employee table, hopefully, it's set up for us. So let's see. We're in our code first tables. Let's refresh. All right. Databases, code first, tables. That doesn't look good because I don't see our table in there. So unless I did something wrong, which I don't think I did, says it's applying that migration. That was our initial setup, which is the one I just showed you. So it should have created the table employees with all that good stuff in it that you see right there. Well, that's not a good sign. Everything up until this point has worked. All right, we've already updated. I don't see where running update again would do anything for us. So I'm going to try to put this into our query window, but it did not come in and create the table for us. So I'm concerned now. Let's look up here. That was correct with code first. Everything up until this point looked fan-friggin-tastic. But I want to be able to do this, but this is not showing under our code first database. So let's look. It's not showing. I don't know how to make that show. Update database. I've already run this. No pending migrations. Let's come in and do this. Now there's no changes in here, but let's double check everything that we've been doing to make sure that it looks okay. I'm going to close this. This was for creating our table. All right. And I'm not going to change the migration. I'm not going to do a thing in there, but let's look in here. Public DB set employees. That should be correct right there. And it's an employee DB context, and it's based off of DB context. I have no errors. It's in the right place. All right. I don't think I was supposed to put it in main. I thought that was supposed to go above main. Let's double check. Above main, add this. That's what we put in. We went into the app config. That configuration string should be correct. Copied it right from here. We went in a NuGet. We enabled migrations. We created a migration. All right. We saw there was an up and a down. we said every time we do this, we've got to do an add migration. All right. Show changes here. Update database. Now, what I can do is I can just make a simple change and try to do another migration. So let's come in here. We will add the employee records here. All right. So I'm going to close this configuration file. File, save all. I'm going to come into here and I'm going to add migration, and I'm going to call this added comment. Nothing else. That's fine because I did. That should create a second migration file here that just says added comment. There that is. All right, I should be able to close this. I'm going to try again to update the database. Okay. But for whatever reason, I don't know why, and this is not making me a happy man. So if I refresh here, and I can refresh either here, or I can come down here and click refresh. There's a lot of ways of doing it. Code first, tables, we don't have our table. Well, I have an idea with. All right, we're going to do this again. Just so you know, we're going to do it again, but I don't know what the error is. It's running the right files. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. What I should be able to do now is to come in here, and this was the last step, and that is to add the 3 records right here. The problem with that is, I mean, I can add them, but notice what I'm getting here. Let's see, let's move these over. All right, so let's see here. What doesn't it like? Let's look at it. Well, let's see if we put this in. We've got that data entity. Okay, so that isn't it. And we need this. I thought that would have been all we needed. Let's change insert to set. Generate class. See, the problem is right now it's not understanding any of this stuff in main, and it's not understanding it because we don't have a database that we're hooked up to. Well, we do have a database here. All right. And it is this employee DB context, and it is DB set with employee, but it's not finding an employee over here. Now I'm going to cheat just to see if I can get this to work. So I'm going to come back to tables. I'm going to add a new table right here. All right. In fact, we're not going to do it like this. Let me close that. What I'm doing now is totally wrong. But I mean, as far as what I'm doing here, but I'm going to open a new query window. I'm going to go in from the one that I had before. I'm going to grab, not from here, but from the last one we just did, which is the database first. I'm going to grab this and table and try to run it. Okay, that completed. So now in here, I should have the table. And there it is. All right. The thing is, this was supposed to create it for me, and it didn't. All right. So I don't know what the problem is, and I'm not a happy man right now. But let's go in and go back to here. Close this. All right, that was the query window that I was supposed to use to add those 3 records, not my program. So you're an idiot, Jeff. So let's get rid of all these. Open up our query window now. Put in those 3 records. Run the command. Incorrect syntax. Okie dokie. Oh, it doesn't like my comment there. That's supposed to be a minus minus. All right, now I can run it. Invalid column names. All righty, we'll fix those. Insert into employee. First name, last name, address, city, state, zip, phone, department, salary, values. So when I run it, I'm just getting garbage. So let's do this. I think the problem is we have to run the program first. Okay, now let's come back to here and try to run this. All right, let's see if that worked. I don't know if it did or not. So let's view the data. No, it did not. Fantastic. So we've got nothing in here. We can put in a read line. I mean, that's not going to hurt anything or help anything. Like that. Let's do a file save. And I don't want to save that query, so let's run the program. Get a key. Okay, that's done. Let's come into here. View data. It did not put anything in. So under tables, code first, new query. Rid of that. Let's try it in here. So let's look. Move these over so you can read them. All right. Insert into employee. Use. It's giving me invalid column names. Good gravy. Well, let's break this down to let's put in 1 record, just me. Get rid of the other 2 for now. Get rid of that comma. Insert into. Now, there is an employee ID, and I don't think that that would be enough to make this not work, but employee ID, first name, last name, but then I've got to come in here, either put in null or the empty string. So it should be saying first name Jeff, last name Scott, address 751 Parr Road, city Wentzville, state code MO, zip 63385, phone 214-386-3675, department code 1, and salary. Again, I made that up. I don't have any idea right now what my salary is. So, but it's still giving me those errors. I didn't prove much to you, but we are going to go back and we're going to do this again. All right. When we are working with this next semester in the AWD1100, we're going to do this. I'm not going to say day one because we're not going to use a database on day one, but probably rather by the second or third week. Now, I have shown you the right steps. They are correct. All right. Something goofy is happening here. It's probably something I'm doing. All right, must be something I'm doing. So let's close this. I don't want to save that. And let's do a save all here. All right, I'm going to close that, and I'm going to close that, and that, go. All right, I've got all this stuff in here now. Let me close that. All right, let me go over to my Code First demo. And what I'm running here for the Code First is what is on my desktop. So that, what does that mean? That means I want to take the one from my desktop, Code First, and bring it in here, copy it here, and I want to override the one that's in there. Finally, I'm going to come in and I am going to come in here and I'm just about finished here. Right mouse click, git bash here. Let's do our things. So git init, git add dot, git commit -m, code first demo created Monday 8/7/23. All right, I don't think I have something called Code First Demo, so I'm going to create that right now. So let's go into here, into GitHub. So a new repo with me as the owner. Code First Demo, which is available. Create it. Set our remote origin. All right, and git push -u origin master. So let's clear this. Let's exit. Let's refresh. So you now have that one too. Okay. Sorry, I've had problems. Don't know what's going on, but something is. All right. I will talk to you on Wednesday. Remember, tomorrow, 8 to 11, I will be at Wentzville at a meeting on coaching. Then I'm going to head back home. So if you have questions, feel free to email me, jpscott@rankin.edu. Until tomorrow, see ya.